Let me start off today's review by saying I really like writer-director Alex Garland. I think he's made some tremendous movies, especially Ex Machina. If you haven't seen that movie, it's like 10 out of 10 sci-fi. It's got 4 actors in it, and that's it. Alicia Vikander is great in it. Oscar Isaac is incredible in it, and Domhnall Gleeson is awesome in it. It's a great movie that across the board works. I really liked Annihilation. The ending made some strange decisions, but overall, I think that movie is fantastic. Looks great. Story's amazing. Awesome performances. Natalie Portman, Oscar Isaac also in that. It's a great movie. Love Annihilation. I did not see Men, but I heard it was kind of weird and not very good. Probably one I'll go back and watch in the next couple months or so. So now there's been a lot of hype about his latest movie, Civil War. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on that red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. Yes, I'm trying to get to 500 subs so I can monetize the channel. So if you could subscribe and comment and share if you want, do all that stuff, that would be great. Okay, so this movie is about today's America devolving into a civil war where Texas and California team up to go after the federal government. And there are other factions involved as well, but that's the gist of it. People seem to think that's impossible. It's not. It's really not, just because Texas and California are kind of on the opposite ends of the political spectrum. If your government chooses to start drone striking citizens, people are going to team up and not have a kind reaction to that. So that's not all that surprising. I think people who think that tend to think in very binary terms and don't really understand how geopolitics or the human mind or anything in general at all works. So it's a concept that is very relevant for today's audience. There's a lot of talk about another U.S. Civil War, an idea that is horrendous and terrible, and I think people don't really understand the consequences of something like that and how terrible and terrifying it would really be. So the movie tackles that issue sort of head on, and it does it from an apolitical stance. It doesn't really take sides. It shows kind of the horrors committed on both, and instead chooses to tell the story from the point of view of journalists. I think the movie very easily could have made a comment about the fact that the modern press has contributed to much of the divisiveness in the US. In fact, I think it's probably the main driving force in why we're so divided, and I think there's something to be said there. But I appreciate that the movie chooses not to take a political stance and does so from that standpoint as well. I think that ends up working in the film's favor. There's one particular moment where it talks about a political faction committing an atrocity. And it's interesting because the way it's said, it seems like it's taking a political point of view, but it's not. And it's hard to explain without spoiling it, but it talks about a massacre committed by some group, and it sounds like it's saying one thing, but you could actually just read it a different way, and you could see that group is maybe the one committing the atrocity. So I think the movie is smart in how it kind of words things and keeps it apolitical. I think the movie looks great. Sound design overall is tremendous. Cinematography is fantastic. The performances by Kirsten Dunst, as well as Dime Store Pedro Pascal. It's not Pedro Pascal, it's like the poor man's version of him. That guy is good. The performances overall are really great. Kirsten Dunst is very good at looking sad, and she does that a lot in this movie. Now, what I don't like about the movie, I think Nick Offerman is a great actor, and his character of the US president is a huge part of the marketing and the trailers, and I think is largely wasted. The fact that he's in this movie is he's just kind of there, and he's just kind of a MacGuffin. I don't think there's any character actually there, which I think is kind of a bummer. I think the movie could have given us just a tiny bit of what led to this war, because that's never addressed at all. But I think it could have given us like a little bit of meat on the bone. But again, I think in the movie's interest of being apolitical, that's a smart. I think it works, but I would have liked to see a little bit. I think they could have done it without being political. Just like explaining what led up to this a little bit more. I also have a massive problem with the music of this movie. You'll note that I said the sound design is great, and it is. The bullets, the explosions, the everything about the movie other than the music is great. It does this thing which pisses me off every time I see it in the movie, which is let's take this incredible, grounded, serious moment and press play on our hipster soundtrack and start playing a song that nobody's ever heard of, but the director clearly likes, and undermine the scene. This happens a lot during this movie, and it really pisses me off every time. You can have your grounded moment without trying to modernize it. And I think that's what Garland tries to do and fails catastrophically at multiple very important moments during this movie. I think it sucks. I hate when any movie does it, and here it's particularly jarring, and I don't like it at all. You can't undermine your own movie, man. You have these moments, you have this incredible sound design, this incredible cinematography and acting, and you're just choosing to blow it up for the sake of hearing a song that you like. It just doesn't work whatsoever. And it's really, really, really disappointing. So those are really the only two criticisms I have. I like the movie chooses to be apolitical. And yeah, so Civil War, it's a movie that I would say is important if you want to see how bad of an idea U.S. Civil War actually is. And hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of Civil War. Would love to hear people's feedback and thoughts on it. And again, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me know what you think. And I will see you next Wednesday for next week's review at 9 a.m. Pacific time.